boy hat.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
I
my
do have one of those, as a matter of fact.
yeah, my
Catch us live.
I have 3 family members close to me that works in the medical field.
Yeah.
My wife has worked in the medical field her whole life.
Yep. She a nurse?
What did she do?
And
she a nurse?
no, she's worked many jobs.
You
She's worked many jobs.
Nurseville?
Yeah, professional. Yeah, I don't want to get too personal here.
I know. I'm just giving you crap.
You know, she's a medical professional, and she's retired.
Yeah,
well deserving.
It's funny when I was a young kid. The first job I got was at a nursing home. The nursing home that I worked at, I worked in the kitchen, and my father was the maintenance man. My father and my mother were divorced at the time too. My father was the head maintenance guy, and my mother was CNA in the same place.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it was weird.
Well, you know the old 1960s cop shows where the husband's a cop and the wife's a nurse?
No.
I know what you're talking about.
Nikki knows.
Chris, nah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Joe Friday, keep going.
No. I was that's the way it was in our family.
Oh.
You know.
Oh, well.
You from Illinois or something, where that's the only, you either work in the mines, you're a cop, or you're a nurse?
No.
Okay, because that's how it is in Illinois.
Have you always lived up in the Pacific Northwest, Phil?
Mostly right on the coast.
Yeah.
No. Yep, on the coast. I was a coast guy. Yeah. Waves crashing, winter storms, fog in the summer.
Coast is nice.
Yeah, it can be.
Yeah. I will tell you, one of the coolest things was when I did go out for my second honeymoon. It's always good to have two. And I wanted to see the ocean. I wanted to get onto the beach and really just see the ocean when we get out there. And that's nice.
Oh, yeah. Try that for 20 years and it's really no big deal after a while.
Yeah. Yeah, like I look at the Atlantic, I don't care.
It's just like people from Vegas, they grew up in Vegas and they come up the Pacific Northwest. Whoa, green trees. Holy mackerel. My God.
They're like, it's just sand.
Yeah. Look at how big these trees are.
People come in, they're like, there's bright lights. We don't understand it.
Are we ready, ladies and gentlemen? Let's do this. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of the Squatchable podcast, where we take a look at the week in Bigfoot news. Joining me, as always, from the 40th Slip, Chris York. Chris, how are you?
Hello.
And
joining us from Power Breakdown, Phil Pulling. Phil, how are you?
Greetings and salutations to you all.
And in an impromptu reunion of an explained universe, joining us, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Pretty good, thanks. All right, cool. And if you enjoyed Unexplained Universe, Power Breakdown, or the 14 Slip, you may enjoy the badly drawn misadventures of two Bigfoot. Head on over to Facebook and Bigfooting with Keith and Colin, where this week, I don't know, something's going to be happening. I've got no plan.
Isn't that like you every day?
Listen, I think that you should unmask Danger Bullet.
Unmask the Danger Bullet.
I think you should finally unmask the Danger Bullet. And as a tribute, he should be Tim Fasano.
He should be Tim Fasano.
I concur.
I concur. The Danger Bullet. That's cool.
That's a great idea.
Listen, I've said for a long time, I'm not the hugest fan of your comic strip.
You've made that very clear.
The one thing that I've always loved is that damn Danger Bullet. But I think you should unmask Danger Bullet as Tim Fasano.
Well, that's a good idea. No, he has a character that fits everyone's taste.
Yeah.
From horror to whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's true.
No, every once in a while, Richard catches me with that damn thing.
well, they're all busy this week anyway. They're doing their salute to Tim Fasano, so they're not available for the comics this week.
Why?
Well, they're busy.
But they're comic strip characters.
It's a moment of silence.
Yeah. Well, look, there they are, right there on the screen.
Yeah. They've been there for quite some time, Phil. Way to keep your eyes open.
Right there.
I'm a firm believer that Phil is may have taken up day drinking.
May have been, maybe.
What do you mean taking up day drinking?
Yeah, I was like, wait a second.
See,
I think that's what he does, doesn't it?
Last night he was arguing this point with me.
What point? The day drinking point?
Yes. Now today you're like taking it up.
Well, I do like we talked about having a nice Bloody Mary in the morning.
Yes.
That's good. I've had that.
That's technically day drinking.
Breakfast. Yeah, it is.
If I could just make one last desperate attempt to finish the intro.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So, with all of that in mind, I am your host, Richard Allen. Let's get on with it. Our first story, of course, is the sad news that Tim Fasano has passed away from a heart attack 2 days ago now. The news was broke on his personal page by Kevin, his partner, long-time partner. He's been in the YouTube videos for ages, the Christian rock band guy, who put together a very tasteful, nice montage of Tim. He will be missed by me. He was a man I featured every week on this show. Every time he produced content, I would have his videos on this channel. I was a big fan of his. I shall miss him dearly. I think it's best to summarize his contribution that he was both the worst thing about the Bigfoot community and the best at the same time. He was self-serving. He clearly just wanted to be on TV, but he was always out there, out in the field, producing content. And I, for one, I'm grateful and shall miss him. And I know you guys had your show yesterday, the 40th slip commemorating his death. And, please feel free to listen to that one as well. Yeah.
One point that came up, and I wasn't quite sure. This came up on the show last night. Now, wasn't Tim Fasano like the guy who got you interested in Bigfoot?
He was. It was the what it was I didn't care about Bigfoot. I was talking to you, so it was like 13, 14 years ago. I was into the thylacine, and you can't do anything in cryptozoology without encountering Bigfoot. So I'd be going through these thylacine forums. It wasn't Facebook back then. It was, online forums. And, through thylacine, I went to Yowie, and from Yowie to Bigfoot. And then I found YouTube. And Tim Fasano was the very first Bigfoot YouTuber I subscribed to, then Timber Giant Bigfoot, and then Super Soylent. And so, I fell in love with Tim's videos at first because he had such a big personality. He used to sit in his taxi cabs. My favorite one he did was the when Facebook Finding Bigfoot, of all people, released a top 10 list of the best Bigfoots. And he was so elated, like he was number 5. And he sat in his taxi cab and he was just like, I won. I'm number 4 on Facebook Finding Bigfoots. All-time top 10 list of Bigfooters for my blinking eye video. And I adored him. I adored his videos. And I'm quite sad about his passing. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Well, that says a lot. I mean, honestly, the very first actual Bigfoot video, and it was Tim Fasano. And so you saw the first and the last. and everyone in between, pretty much.
Oh yeah, and from that, you jump on, you see all the others. You eventually ended up in Team Taser. And then, of course, when that will happen, hung around the coalition for a while, kept my mouth shut, started blogging, and,
One thing leads to another.
Yeah. So I didn't know how else to commemorate him except to do a little comic about it. It was going to be all of the characters, but I was like, nah, he was a Bigfooter. So just the Bigfoot, sending him off. That was my tribute
Sweet.
to him.
Well did, sir.
Yeah, and like I had said last night, everything that I've done with Steve and the show, it all started with Tim. I mean, it was a goof that we did that he was a Bigfoot in the woods in Florida. Was our very first thing that we ever did. Don't even think about looking for it. It's god awful and horrible. But and then we had him on the show a couple of times, and he was the best.
He was awesome. I mean, even that long argument I had with him about Brexit and Tommy Robinson, he came on and he defended his claims. Even when I straight up said to him, "You are a hoaxer," he defended himself. He didn't rage quit or anything.
No, and he, when we every question that we posed to him from the chat room and from us, he answered. He's probably one of the very few people that I knew in the Bigfoot community that if you talk to him, he had an ounce of humility. Most of them don't.
Mm-hmm. Well, he put up with me, that's for sure. And then when he finally makes videos about me, he never ranted about me. He never called me names, never went off. He just tried to explain himself and how I was wrong and how he was right or whatever. And he was always a gentleman.
I always loved how he thought that the 40 slip was Richard's show.
and then he asked Steve permission to share it to other people. Basically anyone except you.
It was great though, and listen, I loved having him on. He was fun, and he was willing to honestly answer any question we posed to him. I felt like, we asked him about that damn half naked picture he had out there on the internet, and he was like, "Yeah, I put that out there."
He was a legend.
Yeah.
And Rick Riolo, you guys don't like him. But
no.
He said it best when he was like, the Bigfoot world is a little more empty now without him. It was people like him that keep the legend alive. And, I give Rick the credit for that because, that was spot on.
The end of an era.
End of an era. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that anybody can fill that void.
No.
Yeah. Oh, before we get to the because I know it's in the videos tonight. You had told me about something last night, Phil. In one of the videos. With Tim, and you were right.
What?
You told me last night about one of the videos that Tim is in tonight that we are going to watch.
Oh, yes.
Roll.
Yeah.
You were right.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in there.
Which was our our video of Tim Fasano this week. Obviously, I put that on the list before he passed. He had made a sizzle roll in his endless quest to get on TV that he was going to pitch and try to sell to a network. It was, 2 minutes of paranormal investigators with Tim tagging along. And, the link is in the description.
Yep. It basically it has all the earmarks of a preview of sorts, and I had watched that the night before I heard of his passing, so it was kind of weird because it was like this is up and coming, and all of a sudden now it's not.
Yeah, and he obviously left his mark. I mean, we every week here, we've looked at his videos.
Yeah.
And laughed and enjoyed them and had fun. I mean, I think pretty much every time you put one up, Richard, we'd come in here and I'd start by laughing and being like, Fasano, man.
Tim Fasano.
The one Tim Fasano.
The man.
You know, just that's how I would it would always be before the show, you know, I'd be like,
Yeah.
oh,
He is
necessary
the-
theme music.
We called him the one.
He had a way of making it fun.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like I said last night, love him or hate him, that was the case. He had a way of making it fun.
I mean, you could do both simultaneously. I mean, he was a larger-than-life character. I was genuinely upset when I found out that he'd passed. I mean, we have lost Bigfooters this year. Waterman, J.C. Johnson, a couple of others. And it didn't really register with me. You know, I felt bad for their families, obviously, but on a personal level, I wasn't that fussed. But when I found out Tim had passed, I was like, oh, man, I'm genuinely upset about this. You know, I wasn't best friends with him or anything, but we did talk.
Yeah.
We did talk.
And he had a fondness for you.
Yeah.
Like, he liked talking to you. He enjoyed it. You know, it was obvious. You know, when he'd come in, he'd be like, "Where's Richard?"
I was trying to get him to guest host this show. I mean, he didn't want to do it with Phil. You know, he never wanted to do anything with Phil because like the whole thing there.
Yeah, Phil, you ruined everything, including Tim Fasano.
But I was trying to wear him down, and you know, I reckon I would have got there eventually.
Right. No, I said last night, the last time that I had spoken to him, we did the 6-year show.
Yeah.
6-year anniversary show, and I had reached out to him to say, hey, you know, I'm doing this show, and hi, Stargazer, and I'd like to have you on, you know, if you'd like to come on. I heard you know, went in the hospital recently, you know, if you can do it on your phone, whatever, you know, I just wanted you to come on and say hi. And we wrapped up the show 20 minutes after the show. He messages me and he says, when's the show? Total Tim Fasano style, you know? And I'm like, yeah, we did. We just wrapped up. He's like, oh, I missed it. You know, and then I had said something to him like, hey, you know, like I was telling Phil last night, my regret is not just opening up another live show and sending him the link. And just talking to him and being able to have talked to him one last time. Because I really, when I would get to talk to Tim on those shows, those were fun shows for me. I said last night, the most exciting guest that I ever had was Mick West. Like, that's the one that I was excited to have on.
Well, you know, the end to a 2-year-long
joke. But the guy that I had the most fun with on air, who was a guest, was Tim Fasano.
Bigfoot quiz we did, and
that's Steve's favorite thing to this day, is the Bigfoot trivia.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I am bummed out about it. And you know, love him or hate him, it's a shame. It's a damn shame. Yeah. But there's plenty of others, you know, plenty more Bigfooters in the sea. None like him, but I'm sure we'll find someone else to feature regularly.
I don't know.
No, listen, nobody's filling those shoes.
No one is going to fill those
Nobody's filling those shoes anytime soon. And that man was one of a kind. And we may find somebody that can entertain us, but I don't think anybody's going to entertain us like Tim Fasano did.
No, me neither. So as tribute, this will be the only graphic shown today. I'm going to leave this up for the whole show because, you know, just as tribute. So that is the sad news that Tim Fasano has passed, gone but not forgotten. May he rest in peace. We move on to Power Breakdown.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, that guy, man.
The anti-Tim Fasano.
The anti-Tim Fasano.
Anti-Fasano.
That's it. Anti-Fasano.
Power Breakdown, Strange Creature Spooks Boy video, 1 minute, 18 seconds. We see a kid walk across a small field and a stagnant camera, obviously staged. He picks up a stick and runs off. And in the background, we see something blurry moving. Phil does a close-up, and it's obviously CGI.
You know, I just need to get my brother-in-law in a Bigfoot suit. He's 6'8", so you can't say it's CGI. I mean, if I'm far enough away, it wouldn't even really have to be blurry.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'd have to make sure that he hid behind a tree, and then you spoke in Finnish and signaled him to cross.
And don't let a guy named Phil look at the video.
No, you see, because that's the standard. You got to talk in Finnish, and you got to signal him to walk across, because that's the standard of hoaxes now.
No guys named Bigfoot Tony. No Phil Pollings.
In fact, just put it on private.
Yeah, just put it on. Just don't
private video.
Yeah, man, Bigfoot Tony's gone dark. Like, he's not uploading anything. It's so annoying, because he's another one that I like to feature, and I haven't heard, he hasn't done anything in months. It's really annoying. It's so selfish of these people to, deprive me of quality entertainment. But, we move on to the next video, which I said last week when Chris wasn't here that Finnish Bigfoot hoax was my new favorite Bigfoot hoax. We have a new winner. This video,
chicken dinner.
This video is classic vintage Super Soylent Phil pulling. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, with the annual Bigfoot hoaxing competition, I think I laughed throughout the whole of this video. The way you commentated on it was perfect. It's just like, and we see he set up the tripod. Oh, that's good.
Andrew Anderson is coming into view now.
Andy Anderson. On his third attempt. Yeah.
Such a smart ass.
I know. But you have to talk like this, like it's a football match or something in Britain. It's a
our commentators don't talk about like that in soccer in Britain. They're like screaming it's the best thing in sports ever. They have to make it interesting.
Well, what about it like a cricket
match? The obvious Howard Cosell joke with that one, Phil.
Yes. Anyway, that was what score did you give it, Richard?
It was a 2-1-0, wasn't it?
That's what you gave Andy Anderson was a 2-1-0.
I thought you were asking what the score was at the end.
No.
Oh, I would give it like a 3 out of 10.
Oh, that's pretty generous.
I mean, it wasn't as bad as the Finnish one, because, as like we said, he didn't hide behind the tree and wait for the signal.
Right, but he didn't use the foliage properly either.
No, he didn't use it.
That was a big. That really cost him in the end, I think.
That really did cost him the championship. Sloppy work in the end. That's classic Phil pulling. The link is in the description. I highly recommend you all check it out. It's on par with your In the Depths of Werewolf Forest breakdown, which was just brilliant. You're just back on form. Back on form.
There seem to be some eyes.
It's looking right at me.
It's looking right at them.
That was a good breakdown. You can't lie. That was a good breakdown. So we move on now to UFO Mania for Chris's least favorite video of the night. Footage uploaded to Lightroad 12, filmed by a young boy filming at night with only a flashlight to guide him. He said he saw a Bigfoot and took his camera to try and get proof at night.
That's not it. The voiceover though says torch, which cracked me up. I was like, that's a pretty pointed torch, but okay.
You mean like
Yeah.
a flaming torch? That's what you mean?
Yeah, she was like, with only a torch to guide him. And I was like, that's a fucking flashlight. I'm sorry, am I allowed to cuss? Because it's going to happen.
No, you're not allowed to.
Oh,
it
you
wasn't
did it.
me this week.
Chris, you're off the hook this week. That's my bad. I should have warned you in advance. My.
That I'm a sailor.
It's usually
Sorry.
Chris, to be fair, and
It is usually me, to be fair.
so well done, Chris, for not being the one. But
Hey.
yes,
I'm the one. I'll hold back. I'm sorry.
But the footage is, it is what it is, and the voiceover is done by possibly the worst robot I've ever heard, And then finally, at the end of it, we see the Bigfoot charge him. I've got to be honest, even by hoax standards, this one is terrible. It's clearly a costume.
Yeah,
Like,
you can actually see the folds.
You can see
flapping
the
around.
folds, you can see the seam in it. I mean, where was the effort?
In fact, you recognize the costume as one that's sold online.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that blatant one that we've all seen.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to take a page out of Donald Trump's book and I'm going to start a movement, make hoaxes great again. Because lately, the level of hoax we're getting, it's like there's no effort. Like that MVTV one where it's a dude in a ghillie suit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, this is not good. This is not good, ladies and gentlemen. I want hoaxes that I have to sit there and go,
The
there's a red
gauntlet has
flag.
been laid down.
Exactly. What was that?
Here's a sleeping Sasquatch in the brush. It looks kind of like,
George Lucas's dog.
a blanket.
It seems to be breathing.
I'm right here, no more than 5 feet away from it.
Or maybe someone's working a bellows.
I'm just saying, hashtag make hoaxes great again.
Make hoaxes great again. I'm
Can
all
we-
for that.
Can we do that? Can we have some
Phil's job
challenges?
is too easy right now.
It is.
Oh, it's simple.
I have to make up all these funny routines to make these stupid videos worth watching.
But they are worth watching. I enjoy them, so I'm a fan. Whatever.
Yeah, we need a good something to come out again.
Do you remember when we first started this show and we had the Provo footage
Mm-hmm.
and the forest footage? You couldn't say 100% certainty that wasn't a Bigfoot.
Right. The Provo Bigfoot was to this day people debate it,
Are we talking about the one on the hillside?
Yeah.
Where it's walking up.
It gets
Not
up.
not the one that looks like it's squatting down to take a crap.
No, that was the other one.
Okay, yeah, years ago. Yes, the one where it's walking up the hill, that one is very interesting.
It is. That's a quality Bigfoot. And I go through all these,
But here's the thing, though, Richard, that you got to remember is, in all the time that we've been taking a look at this stuff, the subject matter in particular, the fact that we did see the Provo video this year is actually good.
Yeah,
Because we don't see a lot of those.
we don't see a lot of videos that you can't say with 100%.
Because when I saw the
Bigfoot
Provo
hoax.
video, I was like, come on, it looks good. Phil's gonna ruin this by tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then we did the show, and I talked to Phil, and Phil's like, no, I'm
looks
not
good to
saying
me.
I'm not saying definitively that it is anything, but it looks good.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we actually had one of those this year, I call that a win.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Good point.
So
It's not like at the same level as the Freeman footage, but
no, not at all. It's not like Patterson Gimlin. It's not like the Freeman footage, but it's not one of these. It's not what we were looking at tonight.
no, it's not one of these.
And
Awful
what we've been looking at tonight is like Nikki was saying, it's this softball crap that makes Phil's job easy.
Yeah.
Like within a second, Phil's like, yeah, that's done.
Yeah, it's not. It's
I
not
can
even
still
work.
see the Party City tag on the back of his outfit.
People accuse me of he only goes after low hanging fruit. Well, that's all there is, you know.
Right.
Don't
Like,
get much more low hanging than this video. Let me tell you.
That's right. But you know, it's very hard to duplicate like, Paul Freeman's footage because it's not that often you come across a real Bigfoot.
That's very true. That's very true. And so, yeah, that was the UFO Mania footage, and links in the description. And for our final video, we have the Ballad of Little Bigfoot. This is my favorite Bigfoot video of the night. It's 13 minutes, 44 seconds. The dude that's doing this, I don't know who they are, but they need to get employed in the voiceover industry because he has a very nice voice and he flows the whole video extremely nicely. Like the exact opposite of me is what I'm saying. Don't rush to disagree. I mean, but okay. Oh, come on. Even you, Nikki. Oh, that hurts.
Nikki?
What? I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm here.
We were counting on you, girl.
I'm sorry.
No. We were counting on you to do exactly what you did, and you let him fall right on his face.
I love it when I leave him hanging. Sometimes I do that. We'll have a talk, and he'll try to, get me going. And I'm just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I survived for about 3 months before I finally blew up on him. But, that was a really hard 3 months for Richard.
It was.
Richard.
It was. There's nothing that upsets me more when people won't fall for my trolls. But yes, he starts the video with setting the scene with a brief description of the environment and the time of year. He starts talking about the legend of the Albat Witch, a legendary monster said to
Sweetwater?
No, not Sweetwater.
Man, you had to sneak that one in.
That's just impossible to recover from. I need a minute. I really wish you'd wait until after I told you.
Yeah, right.
Because you throw me off my flow every time, and I know you do it on purpose.
Yeah, listen. Think of me as like the guy that's there to make you better at your job.
Is it all right if I just think of you as an annoying dude?
Annoying jackass that you have on your show.
That he just keeps inviting back.
How about I think of you like that?
Okay.
But no one seems to know where the legend of the Albert Witch comes from. Natives apparently would carve images of this beast into their shields to charge into battle with to frighten their enemies. It's believed the name has something to do with apples, referring to the creature's habit of stealing apples from picnickers. Apple snitch. Yeah. They live in the trees and make their presence known by crackling branches and whistling, which is an interesting thing because those are things we associate with Bigfoot today, and this is an old legend. Apparently, well, this isn't shocking to us because literally, if I let myself, we could talk about a conference every week, but there is an Albert Witch Festival.
Ooh.
Yeah. Rick Fisher, a Lancashire-based paranormal researcher. He's been in the ghost business for about 50 years, according to the video. He was giving a lecture on the Albert Witch at the festival. People wanted to know if the creature exists or if it's just a legend. Rick has gathered several sighting reports around the area. A man stood up and retold a story from his childhood about an encounter with a small creature that looked like a child with reddish-brown fur. It let him know through mind speak that it wanted to be called Brownie. And at that point, I went, ugh.
That's when you lose it.
That's when I lose it. But to be fair, the dude doing the video says exactly the same thing. He's like, well, if I just lost you because of the brown mind speak, I understand. He closes, there's a few interviews with witnesses and sighting reports, but he closes by saying that myths have always been a part of our lives and heritage, and it makes him just have that much more of an open mind. And the video finishes with a cool original song. The link is in the description. I highly recommend.
Yeah, it was a good video.
Because he's very good. He's very good.
And the Albert Witch is known to be about 4 feet tall.
Tiny by Bigfoot standards.
Yeah.
Also known as a bird in the trees, but whatever.
Do you know many 4 feet tall birds?
There are some pretty big birds. I'm just saying, maybe not a bird in the tree, but you're like, oh, snapping branches and stuff. Birds do that.
Well, what about the thunderbird?
Yeah.
The thunderbird.
But what about the whistling? Where is your science now?
Birds don't whistle. You're absolutely right. That's not what that's called at all.
Bigfoot confirmed.
I'd buy that for $1.
It goes, whoo, whoo.
No, that's just owls, which Richard loves.
Oh yeah, I'm known for my owl love.
Who doesn't like a good owl?
I love owls.
In a pie, yes. So yeah, that video.
Tried it.
No, I haven't. Well, I haven't been able to kill the bloody thing, but I will get him. I will get him. And that's that video. The link is in the description, as are all the other videos this week. We will return next week. Phil, do you have any cool breakdowns coming out this week?
No.
Giving it a week off?
No, I just don't know what I'm doing yet.
You want me to send you some stuff?
Sure.
You know what you should do is send him that video of your surgical school and have him do a breakdown of that.
Should, yeah.
That'd be hilarious. Chris, what you got coming up on the slip tomorrow night?
Legends of the Inuit.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yes.
That sounds cool. And I will be doing something revolving around the Danger Bullet and Tim Fasano apparently on the comic strip this week.
I like that.
That is a good idea.
I think. Listen, I just think like you and I talked about like who is this Danger Bullet guy, and like I thought that he was one of your most like powerful characters that you'd made.
He's
like
a big deal.
Yeah, and like who is this guy? Who is this guy? Like, and I just think it's a fitting tribute.
Yeah,
but do 2 Danger Bullet, cartoons before the great reveal. Like the third one, we find out who he is.
All I can think of is like Super Dave Osborne.
Hell yeah.
And Fasano in a lot of ways for me was like a Super Dave in the Bigfoot community.
Love
definitely a bigger than life character. So
yeah, I think it's
so. Yes, we end the show again by saying, "Rest in peace, Tim. You will be missed." We will return next week, despite the hopes of many. I have been your host. It's good night from me, and it's good night from them. Good night.
Somebody get me Tim Fasano.
Yes.